So, calling the Underhill Energy Committee to order at 5:32. I guess our first order of business is to come up with somebody who's willing to be a note taker. Is anyone willing to do that?
I can. I just forget the process again, Michael. So
Okay, if you're willing to do it, just can you open it up in Google Drive?
can I be in my account or do I have to be in UEC account?
I think you can be in yours because you're a verified poster and you have editing privileges.
Okay, I'm pulling it up right now.
Great.
Okay, I'm in.
Excellent. So just head right up there to the May 8th one, and I see an R showing up here, so that can't be all bad. And we're at 5:32. We started actually, so excellent. It's got you. Oh, that's interesting. It seems to be putting you in there as a suggest as opposed to an edit. We're have to gonna make sure that that's corrected, but we'll go with that for now. I'll just go through and make sure they're all pulled in.
Okay.
Okay, so the next order of business, we are still meeting online until somebody tells us we're not going to. I suppose we'll probably keep doing that. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm actually going to recommend one brief one, and that would be the that energy, what is it, electrification counselor thing or energy counselor thing that I sent around to see if it's worth chatting about. Dwight was the only one who responded when I asked if anybody thought it was worth chatting about. He said yes. So we could put that under member items if we want and just pick it up there. So if that's so suitable.
Electrification counselor, is that what you said?
I can't remember whether it was electrification or energy counselor. Let me see if it's obvious here, if I've got it handy. Where is that? God. I think it was way down here somewhere. What does it say? Electrification guidance. It's ask an electric coach, it says.
Electric coach. Okay.
All right. What's the article? So, okay. So, back where I was when I left off here. Okay. Whoops. What have I done? Oh, no, that's the wrong thing. Two different computers going here. Okay, identify any public participants. I don't see any, so we can skip over that, as well as the public comment period. Go on to review and approve minutes from April 10th, 2024. Let's start with a motion. Is that good?
Make the motion to accept the minutes as written.
Any second?
Second that.
Okay. Well, no. Any discussion? We should ask, is there anything going on with that? So, hello, Jerry. I reviewed those minutes. There were a couple of things. I can't remember who took the minutes last time. I think it might have been Lori.
I think
I suppose.
I was note taker.
Oh, Graham, you were but there were a couple of things that were lined through, and so I just deleted those things that were lined through. So that's the only thing different from what you took and posted at the time. I don't know if anybody else has had a chance to look at them since.
I believe that was just items that we didn't discuss. Is that my
Well, people weren't there. The
right?
people who were supposed to discuss them basically were not there.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of went around them. So that said, does anybody have any modifications or changes that we ought to make to it?
Nope.
Hearing none, all in favor of adopting the minutes as posted currently, please affirm by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll consider the minutes accepted as they are presently presented. So let's move on to program updates here. Wanted to go through a few things. Steve, I really regret that Steve is not here since he was doing the actual solar program. I will stand in a little bit for Steve. That is, when we had originally set this up, Steve had an idea that we would kind of try to put together, I think, a solar farms proposal, fairly large scale, looking for large parcels, most likely in the River Road corridor. He has been planning to invite a number of providers to a second meeting with people who are potentially interested. But he subsequently found out that I think the smallest that anybody that he had on the hook was interested in was about 25 acres for one of these solar farms thing, and he did not feel that that was going to be a very useful kind of piece to kind of try to bring forward, and so proposed canceling that meeting. We did cancel the meeting. So as of right now, our attempted solar program has sort of come to a screeching halt. I think it may make a certain amount of sense to rethink and reconstitute it as a more residential version, trying to get residential solar with or without some storage into individual homes. I don't know. I'd love to get Steve's input on this, but obviously it doesn't look like I'm going to this evening. Is that something worth pursuing, and maybe pull together our little solar renewable group to talk about how to make that happen? And maybe Steve would be able to make that meeting to help us out. Does that sound appealing?
I think it is worth kind of picking up and seeing, in my mind, as far as renewables, solar continues to kind of be sort of the most predominant, at least in our area, and worth kind of at least seeing if there's avenue for kind of picking up, where we're at with it now. I do think it would be, if at all we can rope Steve into one last little info session to get I guess distill what he was going to reach out to the folks that attended that 319 meeting and kind of follow up with them. And I don't know, where we're at with that. So it seems like at the
Right.
very least, and see where we want to take it, or if it's worth kind of.
And Steve has said he was interested in continuing with the solar program himself. So it may be that he wants to participate, like Jerry has heretofore, in dealing with that. So it may be a way to go. So why don't I'll reach out to Steve and see if we can schedule a meeting of our little solar group. One nice thing is, it is a thing, is that now we only have 3 actual members on the group, even if Steve shows up. So we'll be able to do it without doing a whole open meeting, jump through hoops and that sort of thing. So we can just go ahead and schedule that much more on the fly than we've had to in the past. So I would go ahead and do that. So why don't I do that? Oh, Lori is here. Son of a gun. Wait for Lori to show. Hello, Lori.
Hello, sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's fine. I was just afraid we weren't going to have you at all. We just talked briefly about recasting the solar program away from sort of the solar farm program into a much more residential orientation. So, and I'm going to talk with Steve about trying to schedule a meeting of our little solar group to talk about that. So, see where that goes. And I don't think we need to do anything, take a formal action on that, kind of a sense of what we're doing. So that said, unless we want to talk about this any further, anybody have any further thoughts about solar and anything to say about that?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea is to keep looking at residential because I think it's the most accessible for most folks. Um, Technology out there that help.
Yep. Good. We'll do it. Or we'll see if we can pull something together. Okay, that said, we were just looking for a quick update on weatherization and what's going on with that. Dwight, I don't know if you want to tackle that and just sort of tell us where things stand on that.
Well, John and I have kind of switched up the way we do things, and John is taking care of scheduling. I give him dates, and he reaches out. But this month, the days that I had available, I was not able to do. As some of you may know, I lost my mother-in-law, so that kind of took up our month with the available days I had. So we're hoping to get back in the swing of things this next month.
Sounds good. Sorry about your mother-in-law. It's always tough.
Yep.
So, by the way, I apologize. I'm sort of on the tail end of a cold, and so if I begin to lose my voice in the process, I apologize even further. But for the moment, I'm holding up and seem to be recuperating more or less. So I wanted to talk just very briefly about Town Hall Solar, unless anybody wants to say anything more about weatherization to deal with. Quickly about Town Hall Solar, not much to it. I get in touch with Brad and he says, yes, let's talk, and we need to figure out what's going on. And then I either don't follow up or I don't get anything going past that. So I need to sort of start banging on his door with an actual request for some kind of a interaction on that. Graham, I think that would be useful if you could, be part of that because you know a lot more about this than anybody else. So do you have what kind of availability do you have around that?
I can, it depends, but I can try to make myself available just with whatever sort of time pops up that works. Happy to, I can step away during the day for 30 minutes to an hour at a time. Is probably the easiest during the weekdays.
Okay.
With the exception of Wednesdays, is the best. Otherwise, yeah.
Okay, so just kind of anything except a Wednesday,
Yeah,
more or less normal business hours. We don't need
yep.
to schedule an evening thing or weekend
No,
thing or
no,
anything like that.
I can sort of adjust my work schedule around.
Okay, great. That's good. That's great.
And
I didn't
that to
realize you
some
were
extent.
quite that flexible, but it's wonderful.
I
Okay, I will see if I can get something going on that to resolve some of those issues with Brad. So, anything further on that we want to talk about? Okay, that said, we can move on to the next item, which is supposed to happen at 6 p.m. Boy, we're zipping right along, and that's just fine with me. Education and outreach activities. Lori, I'm really glad you're here because I know you said there isn't a whole lot going on, but maybe if you could let people know in general kind of where things are and what your thoughts might be on that, I would very much appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. So I'm just still kind of getting back into things. I've been working full time, but yeah, I mean, I think I need to kind of reach out, and I'm wondering um if it would be super active right now, considering school might be out, or if I should still try to reach out to those people. I mean, I guess it can't hurt to reach out and see where we're going with everything, but yeah, I still need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, maybe if you could even make some initial contacts and that sort of thing, even if we kind of don't really implement them until the following year, but we can have some stuff we were able to pick up. And a lot of people are around in the summer, so I mean, it's like most of the teachers live here and stuff. If we wanted to do something with folks, we obviously wouldn't be doing any student or club activities, but really know what that
Mhm.
is and kind of maybe map out what we want to do, if anything.
Okay. Yeah. So I will
That sound
definitely shoot for getting that done next week and emailing. I'll CC you, Michael.
great.
You kind of see what sent out. I just have to look back in the notes from 2 months ago because there was a bunch of good links and contacts. So I just need to look back on those notes and reach out to those folks. But yeah, I apologize. I haven't done
Don't
anything.
you don't need to apologize. We're a volunteer committee, and you're even trying to do this while you're working full time, which makes it twice as hard. So apologies are not what's going on here. It's we do the best we can, and hope to make something decent out of it.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yep, you bet.
And,
Yeah.
and if it helps, we were talking about procrastination before anyone actually jumped on this call. So
Right,
you're not alone.
right.
Yeah.
That was our early meeting discussion, was procrastination and how to get around it. We all decided we have no idea. So
Yeah.
either
I
that or
feel
we'll think. Yeah,
I thought we
Oh.
decided that we were all very good at it.
right.
Yeah.
I thought we decided we'd talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the words. But yeah, it's like,
Yep.
before when I wasn't working, I was like so gung ho, like, oh, I got all this time and all this energy, and then, you start working again and
Yeah, work's
where
kind
does
of a
where does
mess,
it go?
isn't it?
Where does it go?
As a friend of mine used to say, work, the curse of the drinking class.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Okay.
curse of the people that have to pay bills, I
Yeah,
guess.
the curse of the people who want to do anything else. Okay, so
Yes.
that said, that's great. I appreciate it. That sounds fine. Should we move on to the next one? Leave that for now. The answer is yes. Okay, the
Sounds
events.
good.
Yep. So Dwight, you were looking into some e-fair stuff. Now it sounds like you've been kind of offline here, so I don't know if anything has progressed at all. But
Uh, the only
if it
thing,
has, whatever your
the only
thoughts are.
thing that I've been in talks with, um, there goes the name from Vermont Gas that on South Burlington. They are not going to hold theirs, but they promised to send me their working notes, which now that you've asked the question, I realize he has not done, so I will get on them. Um,
Parent Dwight.
yeah, Tim Perrin. Thank you. Yeah. So I will remind Tim. He said that it was a lot of work and it was more work than they expected. So
it Everything that I do is more work than I expect. It seems to
yep,
be endemic.
yep.
Um, Usually by at least a factor of two. If it's only a factor of two, I consider myself lucky.
Yeah.
So,
There is there's a small energy fair going on this Saturday, which I was asked to support my regular role, which I was not able to do. Um, so yeah, it's the volunteer thing happening on the weekends with people who work full time. It's hard to ask employees to go do weekend work when they work full
where's
times.
where is that, Dwight?
That is in Starksboro.
Oh, Starksboro. That would be interesting. That's close enough to actually go to, except
Yep.
my Saturday is completely filled up already. So,
Yeah, well, mine
but
was filled up with a baseball game, so I can't make it.
yep. If anybody wants to go, is there any kind of information if anybody is interested in?
I will send the information out tomorrow that I have.
Great. Sounds good. Like I said, I'm pretty sure my Saturday is already spoken for, but it would be interesting to know about, and we could maybe look into just see what they did. I mean, that they would possibly be doing things at a scale that would be more like our potential than South Burlington.
Yeah,
Are we still? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
it is a fairly small scale um, thing that they're doing at the library. So
Uh, yeah, that sounds like it'd be kind of the kind of thing that we might want to talk about. And I think our general discussion had been to try to dovetail it to still go ahead with the EV events in late summer, September, around the Labor Day ish. and maybe try to dovetail something with that. Does that still make sense? Is that what we're looking for?
Yep. I think if we get together with Jericho, I know there's
Yep.
saw plans that you're going to talk about that a little bit later on.
Yes, that comes up in just a bit. So definitely. Great. Okay, do we want to talk any more about this one? Anything more to come up there?
No, I'm good.
Great. So, Jericho Farmers Market. This includes the discussion of the canopy and table, which Ravi has been doing an excellent bit of business on, our schedule, participation, and what we want to do there. Seems like this is actually an area with some general decisions that we want to make or need to make here. So, Ravi, can you just bring us up to date on the canopy and table situation? I know you sent it around, but just sort of orient everybody quickly.
Yeah, I mean, just basically, I identified a couple different canopies. One just being your regular standard backyard canopy, which we can get at Dick's. It's the one we use at our house. I think that was like $98, and it's a pretty reasonable canopy, I think, for the amount of times we're going to be using it, for the events we're using it for. It should suffice. That's just the canopy itself. If we wanted to add some weights to that, I think the set is 30 to 40 bucks, if I'm remembering correctly. And then if we wanted to step up our game and get the heavy duty polyester canopy, I think that jumps up to 198 bucks, almost doubles the cost on the canopy. And again, just my personal opinion, I don't know if that's really necessary for what limited use we're going to be giving it. Regardless, both of those canopies are kind of big and clunky. They go in a big bag with a roller, so just something to keep in mind from a transportation perspective, as well as the weights. That's in a separate bag or box, however we choose to package those. So just something to think about there. Then table, we can just grab that at Lowe's or Ace Hardware. That's pretty straightforward. And then as far as lawn chairs, I could run to Dick's and grab a couple lawn chairs there, or REI or something, and get a couple comfy chairs for people to sit in. But there's plenty of budget for a nicer chair should that be what we want to splurge on.
Now, do we know what's involved in actually getting it paid for?
We don't. So we have $500 is our budget, which this is the last year we have it. They did not extend that into the next fiscal year. I would imagine, Michael, the easiest would be for one of us to buy it and get reimbursed, but we should probably confirm that with Brad.
I think Sherry would be the one to confirm it
Sherry.
with. Yeah, probably. I think she's. Would you be willing to do that?
Yep, I can do that.
That would be great.
Yep.
I was going to say the last time we bought something, I just provided Sherry with the links, and she was able to purchase it and made it a lot easier on us. There was no reimbursement. She just ordered it for us.
Okay.
Great.
What canopy do we want to go with?
We need a decision. I'd also like to just have a quick question around the weights.
Yeah.
I know that they're basically for wind stabilization. Now, heretofore we have used we've staked it, and that works very well in the regular ground. I would think we'd only need weights if we're planning to use it outside, but in some environment that we can't drive big stakes into the ground for.
Yeah, I would agree. Basically, the weights are for windy, gusty days. And in my email, I had mentioned ours had blown over. It's literally we were hiking a mountain and a microburst came in, and our canopy back at our car had blown over because we didn't have the weights on it. So yeah, I mean, if it's attended and we're not going to be in gale force winds, we're not going to be attending events like that. So maybe we can forego the weights, Michael. Yeah, we have weights at our house that we could always use.
Yeah, I was sailing in Chesapeake Bay, and a 2,000-pound keel was turned over on its side by a microburst. How much do these weights weigh anyway? So yeah, my guess is that I'm not objecting, but it doesn't seem like, to be schlepping weights around and, that kind of thing. It doesn't seem like, as long as it's primarily the farmer's market, it seems like, I've got two sets of four stakes that we can do, and we've been using my stakes to stake down Jericho's tent heretofore. So if we were to get that, then I think that would be. I don't feel like I wouldn't want to be schlepping the weights particularly, you know. But
Makes sense.
I'm open to opinions, other opinions on this.
Sounds like that's the opinion, Michael.
I don't know whether it is or not. It's awfully
I've used
quiet here.
I've used both, and I don't really find one any different than the other one. So
I feel like if it's just going to be used for the farmers market, there might be people there too that hold the tent, um, in case it gets a little windy. But I don't know.
No, we nail it to the ground, Lori,
Yeah,
with
to like the schools.
10-inch spikes.
Okay.
I think
I don't
that
know
should be
how windy it gets down there. It gets really windy where I live.
Yep.
But I'm not sure if it gets as windy down there. I haven't been yet, so I'm excited to come
Yeah.
this year.
Yes, we definitely will put you to work. That's for sure. Don't show up
Yes.
unless you plan to join in.
I'll
So anyway,
hold.
yeah, yeah, you'll hold one of them down, will you? Okay, gotcha. Okay, so I don't think we we need the weights per se. We'll continue to nail it to the ground, and a couple of chairs, table, and I don't see any reason why the Dicks. I mean, I think your assessment is probably reasonable on that, Robbie. I don't think we need to be a Cadillac here or anything like that. We're not planning to set up at Mar-a-Lago or anything, so use
Yep.
the ordinary people's version.
Yep, I agree. I will send Sherry an email. I'll copy you
Great.
on that, Michael, just so she knows we're all on the same
Now,
page.
do we think we might have that by in time for the 6/16 or 6/6 is the first one. Jumping into the schedule piece, I have reserved two dates for us, the two dates that we requested when we met last month, and I contacted Elizabeth, and she gave us both of those initial dates. So the first of those is June 6th. I think we'll be in a position to use our own tent by then. It seems like it may be, but if we're doing an online order or something like that, but we're getting it at Dick's, right?
Correct. And
This,
everything I looked at's in stock, so we should be fine. I
okay,
will
that
email
sounds
Sherry tomorrow regardless, just to
great.
get moving, but I expect we should
Yeah,
be fine.
great. That sounds great. So I won't be bugging Kathy about any of that or anything. So that's our next item. The schedule is already scheduled. So that loops into the next item. I'm hoping that there will be some folks who can join us there. I will plan to be at least the first one. After that, we can, I don't know whether I don't feel like we need to set up an official sign up or anything. People can come by, or we can, kind of maybe the previous month or something like that, kind of mentally or informally say who's planning to be there. I know Jerry's been there very faithfully. Um, as an aside, I would say, Jerry, I have not yet heard back from Brad on your joining the committee. So technically, you're not quite yet a member, not yet quite a member or something. But he said to send a memo, and I sent him a memo, and I do not see it on the upcoming the upcoming special meeting agenda. I'm hopeful that it'll be on the one after that. So, but I think they got a lot on their plate with the new select board members and elections and stuff like that they're trying to deal with. So that may be holding up the works a little bit. But so anyway, yeah, it sounds like at least Jerry and me and anybody that will have to deal with a handoff on the tent and stuff like that, Robbie, and make sure we can get it there. But I don't know. Does anybody have any thoughts as to probably we should store it at the town hall somewhere or something like that? So I
That's
assume.
seems to make
So,
most sense somewhere.
yeah, yeah. And we can make it available to other folks and let them know that the Energy Committee is as long as they put up a big sign with thanks to the Underhill Energy Committee for loaning us this tent. So, okay. That said, I would like, I'm sorry. Did somebody have something? No, I guess not. I'd also like for people to think a little bit. I know that how we want the kind of toys and attractions and so on we want to have. We had the big red door twice, I think. One time it was a huge hit and a lot of people came and saw it. Another time it didn't seem to do much attracting. So I'm not sure what makes it work one time and not another. I know, Dwight, you had talked about a much more portable frame arrangement for that
Yep.
and stuff. So that might be worth doing something with. Also, but I mean, I know one time that we had an official, riding electric mower and electric chainsaws and I don't know, electric bottle openers, whatever they had. There was a whole tool display and so on, and that became quite a popular item. So probably for this first one, we aren't going to be in a position to do much with something like that. It's coming up fairly soon. But if we could think about maybe something for the July, and we can, once we get into the next item, maybe we can, I probably put these things in the wrong order or something, but we can also talk with Jericho about pulling some of that together. I know Kathy McMains was able to pull some of those participants in for us when we had that big official tool display. I'm assuming we aren't going to try to do anything like e-bikes and that kind of thing, do any kind of demonstrations or so on. Those kind of toys can be maybe they're an attractive nuisance. I don't know. But anyway, people could just think about it a bit so that we could do more than Graham.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, and I think if no one objects, there's like a Mo Electric organization, and I might just, and it seems like they, just from the little I know, might be available to do sort of demos at various, events such as the Harvest Market, and seems like that'd be a great way to amass some expertise on electric sort of mowing and those implements, and like have some show and tell stuff. I don't know what folks think of that, or it's either just trying to get some additional sort of items for folks to check out, whether that's some like whoever, I don't know, I haven't been by Ace Jerry Hill in a while. I don't know if they have like electric string trimmers, stuff like that, but whoever their supplier is, maybe they have the ability to provide some, I don't know what all would be involved in there, but just an idea.
No, it's an excellent one, and in fact, they were the ones who supplied the electric riding mower the time that it was so successful.
Right.
The Mo
Yeah.
Electric. In fact, I have a hat from them. I think that I
Okay.
got from that event. So absolutely, let's talk with them. Were you willing to give them a call or?
Yeah. If
Great.
everyone sounds good with that, I can just ping them
Yep.
here and just see what can give them the 2 dates that we've got for the market and see where that takes us.
It sounds great.
Great. And
Anything else you want? Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Bobby? Go
Is
ahead.
Graham? Yeah, okay. I was just going to say we are a Milwaukee Tools dealer, so I can contact our local rep and see if he might have some toys and tools. So I will reach out to him.
Cool.
That's great. Yeah, that kind of thing seems to attract people. They want to find out how it works and a lot of stuff about it. So if we can get some demos and information about that, and tell them that they can provide contact information for actually going ahead and buying the stuff too. So not people see something they like. I don't see any reason they shouldn't be able to get a hold of it somehow. I mean, we
Yep.
can't sell it there, but
Yep.
we could.
And Michael, if you recall, I think at town meeting day, the few kids that were there did like sort of the coloring pages that we had at our table. So I'll print some
They
more of
did,
those.
yes.
I'll print a
If,
bunch of those out and bring them.
that's great. Yeah, if you're willing to do that, and that dovetails pretty well with I think the other booth, that find it booth with the kids there, the sort of treasure hunt thing
Right.
that they do.
Yep.
That might be good. Okay, are we on top of that one? Excellent. I don't see my name anywhere so far. This is good. So, although I think that's about to change. So, moving along to the next one, Jericho Energy Task Force. I have been in touch with Catherine, and we have been talking about having a joint meeting, and she has said, I guess they have a meeting on May 20th, and she sent around some stuff that she thought might be going on the agenda, and I think obviously we should be talking about the farmers market, and I don't know if people are interested in potentially attending that. I don't know for sure if they offer an online option for that one. It may be an in-person meeting, but I can find out more details about it. But I don't know if people are interested in continuing to pursue this. I have been in touch, as I said, I've been in touch with her, and or B, things that we might want to talk about, including, I don't know if any of you have had a chance to look at that email I sent around. It's very brief. I could pull that up if we want to go through that. Let's see what I can find. Excuse me. How about from this version? Let's see. It says here my computer is very recalcitrant. Oh, the one that I sent you guys. All right. So a joint meeting. It says she got back to me and said we could talk about JFM at joint meeting. We are also going to talk about whether to apply for a MERP mini grant. So Ravi, you could be a real. By the way, what's our status on that? Where are we? Where are we with that? Just
Yeah, so we're waiting for the administrators of the program to contact us to schedule the audits of the buildings. In conjunction to that, BURP is now offering this mini grant, so I should have added that to this agenda.
uh,
It is not part of the MERP grant that we are approved.
oh, I thought it was the same thing.
Me too, and I confirmed that with Ann Janda, if I'm saying her
Yep.
name correctly.
Yeah, that's good.
And she said you need to apply for the mini grant, and I think we have till the end of the month. So again, thank you for bringing that up, Michael. Completely slipped my mind. I am gonna see if Brad's okay with us applying for that, and I might as well. I think it's like $5,000, so nothing to
What
scoff
is it?
at.
What is it? What does it do?
It allows you to either do advertising for energy efficiency, maybe have an administrator to help you with web page, basically anything you can think of to help support an energy committee's goals and initiatives. So it's pretty open-ended.
How about running an energy fair and a solar?
I believe that's actually one of the things they suggest. Yes.
Because we're trying to do that, and that would give us some funds to play with in terms of pulling that together.
Yeah. So I will do that. It's on me. I will do that.
Cool. And I thought it was the same thing. I thought here we were going to be telling them a whole lot. They're telling me something. Okay, so I was going to finish. I didn't finish talking about that. Didn't finish reading that. The other things, MERP mini grant says ideas for which would include activities related to window dressers. They've always been interested in that. And Dwight, I know you don't have a lot of faith in that. And I get it from the point of view of pure energy efficiency, but from the point of view of outreach, it might be something worthwhile. They want to run a big program on that, could get people interested and engaged and, doing projects and that sort of thing. Be interesting to talk with them about it and hear what their thoughts are in any case. There's our winter movies lecture, buying an e-bike for demonstration, plus to loan out for those interested in purchasing one. Says one of our occasional members wants to talk about bridging climate concerns with watershed and stormwater integrity. Now there's a mouthful for you. Any of those things any or all of those things sound like something we'd be interested in chatting with them about?
I think the loaner e-bike sounds kind of interesting.
Does sound interesting.
Could leave that at the library or something.
Should we be doing that instead of or in addition to the? An e-bike would take most of the funding, wouldn't it?
Well, I think it would take all of it, yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. Would with 5,000? Would we be able to do something we wanted on that? Does anybody know?
I think that from what I've heard, that would be pretty much all of our 5,000. Just if we wanted one that was kind of rugged and
right,
novice proof.
Right.
I like the idea. I am a little worried. It sounds like if we were going to try to set up something like that up, we should be talking with whoever was going to be the keeper of it, the library or the town hall or whatever, before we go down that road. I mean, this doesn't sound like the kind of program that we just want to say, hey, we just bought an e-bike, you're running it. So, do we have any sense about that?
I just wonder
Yeah,
what
talk it through a little bit more as far as how it would work.
Well, it sounds like we need to have an actual plan for what we want to do for Robbie to include in a. Is that right, Robbie? I assume that you can't just say we want $5,000 and we'll tell you later what we want to do with it, right?
I think it may be open-ended, Michael. So let me confirm, and then I'll send a group email to say, hey, we have to have an idea, or we're just good to go to apply, and then present them with an idea after we've all had a chance to sort of huddle up and talk it through.
Okay. So if we can do it as an open-ended, unspecified, then let's definitely do that. But I think, should we have in our back pocket a choice here? Or
Sure, can't hurt. So we got EV bike loaner, we got e-fare. What else are we talking about?
doing more with the solar program, the residential solar program. I'm not sure how we would spend money on that. I think the other two have obvious places to spend money.
Yeah, I would agree. And of those two, just my perspective, EV bike or an e-fare, it sounds like the energy fare has needs a lot of time and attention to even get going, whereas an EV loaner bike might be a little bit more of a simpler task, might be a higher price tag, but I think it'd be easier on us in our limited time, as we've already discussed a couple times tonight.
Yeah. If we have people lined up who are going to handle the loaning side of it. Maybe that's something we should talk through. Also, if Jericho is going to be getting an EV loaner bike and maybe keep it at the library, do we want us to also get an EV loaner bike and keep it at the library? have 2 EV loaner bikes. I mean, that's definitely more than one, so that there is some virtue to that. And so people often come in pairs or couples or something. And so, to be able to rent 2 of them instead of one would be potential real advantage. Is that something worth talking with Jericho about in the process?
Let me first confirm if we have to submit an idea of what we'll do with the funds, and then if we do, we can pull Jericho into the conversation to see if we split one, we buy 2, what everybody's thinking. Does that seem fair?
It does. Yeah. I mean, I'm just worried that, this may be something that we really ought to do with a vote.
Oh, I see.
And we won't have a vote before the end of May. Any thoughts?
Um,
Go on the assumption that it's going to be open-ended? They kick the can down the road?
What is the due date? I missed that.
End of the month,
As in end of this month.
correct.
Do do we have the ability to schedule a meeting towards the end of the month where we have a quorum and could vote, specifically on the matter if Robbie, if Robbie kind of follows up and gets info back as to whether it's open-ended or not, if we feel like that's
If
necessary, or if
we
we just assume.
well, one way to do it, I mean, if we are all gathered at a joint meeting with Jericho and we have a quorum of the Underhill Energy Committee, we could vote there. And that would also give us the advantage of, being able to talk with Jericho about whether we wanted to link up with them and so on and so forth. But if we don't need to vote, then we can just avoid that issue altogether. But if we do, and we do have a quorum there, we can vote on it. Are people willing to commit to a quorum there?
As long as I don't have a baseball game that night.
All right. Rain, come on in for May 20th. Keep Dwight at home. So okay, we will plan on that then. Robbie, you'll find out if we can do this kind of as a more open-ended sort of thing, and we will plan to finalize the decision kind of between the EV fare and the e-bike loaner arrangement for and anything else we might want to discuss at the meeting with Jericho then. Does that sound good? Excellent.
Maybe Robbie said this and I missed it again, but is there a time limit when we have to spend the funds by?
I did not say that, so you were paying attention, Dwight. It's not clear to me, so I will discern that as well as I sort of unpeel the layers here.
Actually, that may make our decision easy. If it has to be spent within 1 year's time, then I think we go for a shorter.
Duration.
1 year time thing. I think the electric bike makes more sense than the fare. So,
Right.
We can go from there.
Pardon the pun, but fair enough. Okay, so we will go ahead with the meeting and plan to discuss things that are on that list, including the possibility how we want to handle EV bikes. And at that meeting, if necessary, we'll take a vote on what to do about pursuing the funds. Sound good? Okay, good. So that's what we're doing. That said, unless there's anything more about the meeting with Jericho Energy Task Force, let's see. This guy is kind of there we go. Member items and new business. We had kind of 2 things. One is the mini grant, which we've just been talking about. I don't know whether we need to do anything more about that at this time. Are we good on that, Robbie and everybody? Robbie's nodding very
Yep,
sagaciously
I
there.
think so.
So that said, I did want to just mention this electrification coach business. I must admit I was a little bit taken by this. It seems like a function that could be provided. I question whether it should be provided more piecemeal entirely at the local level, or whether we should, if we're interested in it at all, working in conjunction with a larger, maybe at minimum at the regional level, where we, the region RPC kind of coordinates this electric coaching activity. We could have like ambassadors and people doing things here, but it seems kind of well, I mean, we could do that. I mean, we could just offer that as something that we do, but it seems like it makes a lot of sense to do this as at a somewhat higher level. I note that a training is starting as of May 23rd. I don't know what's involved in getting into that or if anybody's interested in that. So I assume there will be other trainings, though. I mean, I can't imagine if they're doing this that this will be the last one. That's the one that the article that I read mentioned about it. I didn't know if anybody had any thoughts about this and wanted to discuss this any further.
Well, in our weatherization work, we have a position that's called the energy efficiency coach, and they're basically the first ones that our clients see, and they deal with the electric side of things, refrigerators, freezers, cold climate heat pumps, all that stuff, and it's a very successful position for us. Like I said, that's the first visit every client gets. But I think uh, I have a hard time navigating Efficiency Vermont's rebates, um, as do a lot of people. So I think it would have some. I don't know what the training involves. I'm not volunteering for it, um, but I think it would be a point where people could, if they have questions and want to navigate the technologically advanced rebate system, that it might be worthwhile.
I'd add to that Efficiency Vermont has, a free sort of weatherization energy coaching, I think similar to, it sounds like the position at Dwight's organization. I don't know, and I personally, um, talked with one of their folks and found it was a really good experience. I don't know, it was less oriented towards access to rebates necessarily, but I think, one second. I think that it's worth, continuing to discuss. Especially like Dwight mentioned, as like figuring out a good resource for folks to be able to help them navigate access to the large amounts of money that are out there for rebates and incentives and things.
Yeah, I mean, they just up there. Vermont Gas now has a rebate for cold heat pump hot water heaters that they're like 90% for moderate income folks, family of two up to 110,000, I think, and that's all good stuff that we should make sure we're on top of. And that position, I think, would do that.
Is this something we ought to? I mean, should we be reaching out, or should I mean, some kind of program get put together that links up with these folks? I mean, should regional planning be reaching out to some of these people? And I mean, I wasn't even aware of these people existed, and I chair of the bloody Underhill Energy Committee.
I think I'll read the article more closely tomorrow, and then I'll be able to form an opinion of who they're trying to go after. And I mean, there really is
I mean, it
nobody out
sounds.
there. There really is nobody out there being a counselor for moderate income folks that would help them wade through the process.
Not even the Efficiency Vermont people?
Yes and no.
Well, this sounds like something that could be a real big help to people navigating their way through this and finding out what they need, as opposed to just say, here's a mouse, here's a laptop, go find stuff.
Yep. That being said, the tool that EVT just came out with to look at your rebates it does kind of put that all in one place.
For rebates.
Yeah.
But there are probably other things too to consider, even like deciding what you're going for. I mean, different. Well, anyway, how to pick, equipment and how well your house is going to work for, mini splits or whatever. I mean, it just seems like there are lots of pieces to this puzzle that could be
My big one is what's the actual true cost
right.
going to be if you switch over. We're finding that's a huge thing, is that the actual cost is much higher than when you make the switch to all electric or whatever. The actual cost is much higher than what are being told and sold. So just understanding all of that stuff before they jump in.
Yeah, terribly important. I mean, I still kind of don't know optimal, cutover points between backup and, heat pump and that sort of thing, and how you figure them out and so on and so forth. So,
Yep.
um, is there how can we pursue this? Do we want to pursue this, A, and B, what kind of steps can and should we take in order to do it?
I think we have to have somebody that's willing to put the time in to get trained, see how long the training is, and then be willing to put their name out there that they are an energy coach and they can answer all your questions or will help you, which is at this point is not me, but
Right. I don't think that any of us have that kind of time, and so. Although I would love to have some of the information and knowledge, and just even get the training, if you will, to know what's going into it. I don't know whether they do that or not, but just to have the knowledge base that's behind it. But I mean, in terms of like coordinating with Efficiency Vermont or regional planning, is it worth somebody touching base with either of those?
well, I'll look into what what they're talking about and what the job actually is or the position, and then I'll reach out to Ann and Melanie and go from there.
Great.
It's kind of funny. I just actually, I deal with Ann and Melanie on my full-time job, and I just hired Melanie's sister as one of my crew members. So there's,
No kidding.
yep. We are looking for crew members still. If anybody has anybody.
Looks like it's
I'll check around. What's that?
I was just gonna say it looks like it's this training meets weekly for 5 weeks on Thursday afternoons is what the information there says. Just in regard to this the 23rd of May's start.
Right. I think it's 20 hours or something like that, isn't it?
Is it
Didn't they say
online?
it? Yes, it is online. That's what it said. But I don't know how anxious they would be to have people show up and kind of sign up for their information gathering and then not be an energy coach, just use it as a learning experience kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, it's the absolute wrong time for me to be doing that because it's my anniversary on May 23rd, and then that's the end of our contract year. So I'll just see what I can find out.
Yeah, pass it along if you would. That would be great. Okay. We got any more we want to talk about this one? No. Well, that said, do we have any agenda items that we want to take up that are not reflected in our previous, all the stuff that Robbie's been typing so diligently into the existing minutes? MERP mini grant, electrification counselor. Sounds good, coach. Those are good. We'll do that. That said, our next regular meeting is scheduled for June 12th. I will be scheduling a joint special regular meeting, and I will post it, I guess, figure out how to do that, with the Jericho Energy Task Force for the 20th. And I hope we can get a quorum there in case we need to do any. Robbie, you can let us know if it's just an open-ended thing. You can let people know, and there'll be a little bit less pressure if people are under more attendance pressure. And that way, if it doesn't rain, Dwight doesn't have to show up.
Well, I did look at my baseball schedule. I do have a game scheduled for that night, but
So
this
we could be in
spring,
trouble. Maybe we could get Jerry on board before then. So, anyway, that said, is there anything else we need to cover before everybody goes home and has dinner? Hearing none, I would look for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
A motion to adjourn.
second.
Second? Excellent. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much. This is becoming efficient.